6:33 past the hour. Here with a snap from Capitol Hill. Republican Senator from Nebraska and member of the Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee, Senator Ben Sasse. Good to have you on.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so there's pretty low confidence in Capitol Hill these days, as you know. What do you think realistically will get done in the next few months?
Yeah, there's low confidence in Capitol Hill for good reasons. In both political parties in Washington, people act like you can centrally plan life, and people in all 50 states across the country don't believe that. So I think voters from my state want us to do some small things to demonstrate the ability to cooperate, but what they really want is a bigger conversation. They know we need to disagree, but we don't need to do it being disagreeable. So I think we need to be setting the stage for a 2016 presidential campaign that's about bigger ideas than are often talked about here.
I've heard that. We've heard that. We've said that. What do you think you can do coming to this sort of from a new perspective that can sort of cut through that gridlock, especially the part where nobody's talking?
Yeah, so I think you build relationships with people, first of all. There are 13 freshmen, 12 R's and 1 Democrat, but all 13 people tend to be a little bit impatient with Washington, but still wanting to make sure we're not coming here just trying to make news, but build some relationships. So that's been what I've been doing in the first week and a half here, is getting to know some people, but remaining committed to talking about the big issues that Nebraskans sent me here to do. Nebraskans don't care about post office naming bills. They think we have generational threats, and they want to have those kinds of conversations.
What are those generational threats?
We're running the government on the architecture of 1965 entitlement programs, and no adults who look at those books think they add up. The crisis of civic engagement in a republic is a genuine crisis. When people know as little about politics and public life as they do, we've got a problem. You've got to pass on the meaning of America to the next generation, and that doesn't happen the way Washington has typically been working the last few years.
Senator Harold Ford, good morning. Very quickly, both parties have labeled jobs and creating high-paying jobs as a priority. If you were the leader of the Senate or in the White House, what were the 2 or 3 things you'd like to see advanced right away to achieve that objective?
Yeah, so I want to be honest, don't mean to push back on you, Harold, but Washington doesn't create jobs. And if you act like Washington creates jobs, you're not going to create jobs. Washington exists to provide a framework where real job creators can create jobs. Farmers and ranchers and small business people and people living in communities do that. One of the most fundamental things you need to do is have a regulatory environment that's predictable. Middle-class farmers and ranchers all across Nebraska really don't know how to make sense of rules coming out of the EPA that are infinitely long and do things like regulating rainwater runoff on a manure pile in the middle of Nebraska. And so you need a regulatory environment that's a lot more predictable. You obviously need to do tax reform as well that broadens the base and lowers the rates and stops trying to pick winners and losers among the politically connected.
All right.
Senator Ben Sasse, thank you. Good luck. We hope something happens.